My name is Jonathan, and I've been married long enough to sense when the subtle rhythms of a relationship begin to falter, those quiet signals that something is off even before you can name it or find proof. One evening, my wife Abigail casually told me she was going out. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "If you leave tonight, don't bother coming back. I'll make sure you get everything you deserve." Those words weren't a sudden outburst of anger. They were the bitter harvest of years spent investing my heart and soul into a marriage that left me feeling like a stranger in my own life. Years ago, I was a freshly minted doctor, having battled through sleepless nights, unpaid internships, and endless hospital shifts. The grind was relentless, but putting on that white coat filled me with pride and hope. I dreamed of a future free from a heavy weight of debt, filled with promise and stability. That's when Abigail entered my world. A stunning woman, confident and sharp, working as a sales manager for a top-tier fashion brand. She navigated her demanding career with grace and still made time for us. Our early years were like a fairy tale, warmth, connection, and shared dreams. We dated through those busy years, both climbing our separate mountains. I was chipping away at a mountain of student loans, taking every extra shift I could, determined to build us a life free from financial strain. When the time felt right, with my loan significantly reduced and our careers steady, we got married. Our wedding was simple, surrounded by those closest to us, where we vowed to support, be patient, and grow together. I believed then that Abigail was my soulmate, my partner for life. But life has a way of changing the script. After the wedding, my career flourished, but the debt still hung like a shadow. One evening, I shared my plan with Abigail. We would delay starting a family until the debt was fully paid off. It wasn't that I didn't want children. I longed for them. But I wanted to start that chapter without the weight of financial anxiety pressing down on us. Her reaction was not what I expected. She was upset, arguing that we didn't need to be so harsh with the payments. She dreamed of a beautiful home, a place where we could build memories, and she reminded me of a conversation from our dating days. Her dream of being a stay-at-home mom, fully present for every moment of our children's lives. I admire that dream deeply. My own childhood was shaped by a mother who was rarely home, working tirelessly, and I wanted to offer our kids something different. But her vision came with a price. I'd be the sole provider, shouldering a mortgage, the remaining loans, and all our expenses. It felt like stepping into a financial abyss. That night, we fought for the first time as a married couple. I tried to explain that my caution wasn't about denying her dreams, but securing our future. To her, it sounded like I was saying no to kids, to a home, to everything she wanted. Looking back, that fight wasn't just about money. It was the first crack in a divide that only grew wider. Determined to make it work, I compromised. Abigail's dreams mattered to me, so I took on the burden alone. Extra shifts, late nights at the hospital. My colleagues joked I lived there, and honestly, sometimes it felt that way. I dragged myself home after midnight, too exhausted even to eat, collapsing into bed while she slept peacefully. I missed birthdays, anniversaries, quiet evenings. Life at home passed me by, but I told myself it was temporary. Once the loans were gone and the house ours, I'd get my time back with her. I believed in that future. After over a year of pushing myself to brink, I finally wiped out the last of the loans. I could breathe again and had saved enough for a down payment on our dream home. But moving it wasn't simple. Abigail wanted renovations, new floors, a revamped kitchen, updated bathrooms, fresh paint. None of it was unreasonable, but it dragged on for weeks with contractors, permits, and delays. When the loans finally vanished, I thought we'd turn a corner. I would be home more, be present again. But when I slowed down, I saw the truth. Abigail was no longer the woman I married. She brushed off my attempt at closeness with tired excuses, busy schedules, and fatigue. Her reasons piled up until being home felt like trespassing on a life she had built without me. I chalked it up to adjustment, but weeks became months, and the distance grew. She was often out late with flimsy explanations, traffic jams on empty streets, helping a co-worker whose job didn't require it, vague errands when most people were with family. I stayed patient, hoping she'd come back once we settled, once the house was ours. We talked about children, about the future, but even that felt like a fragile, distant hope. Our arguments increased, the once shared dream of kids now a battleground. Months after cutting back my hours, I could no longer pretend the coldness was fading. One night, after yet another unexplained absence, I confronted her. "This isn't working," I said, voice tired and raw. "We don't talk, we don't connect, and you're never here, physically or emotionally." I was exhausted from pretending we were still a team. Instead of opening up, Abigail lashed out. She accused me of selfishness, of putting my career before her for years and leaving her isolated, unvalued. She said my late nights and missed dinners had piled up, making her feel neglected, and now that she was finally living for herself, I was trying to hold her back. Then she dropped a bombshell. She was in her free spirit phase, wanted to live without restrictions, to focus on her own happiness. It was like hearing a stranger speak. From then on, Abigail grew more distant, leaving without explanation, acting as if I didn't exist. When I was home, she barely acknowledged me. When I was away, she didn't check in. Desperate for answers, I hired a private investigator, an expense I never imagined spending, but I needed the truth. Weeks later, the report arrived like a gut punch. Abigail wasn't just drifting emotionally, she was living a separate life, as if our marriage was a ghost haunting an empty house. I tried one last time to salvage what was left, to talk, to find some middle ground. But she shut me down, accusing me of control, painting me as a villain. That was the moment I knew she was truly gone, and I had to plan my escape. One evening, sitting on the couch, barely watching TV, listening to her prepare to leave, I asked, "Where are you going?" Her response was icy, "None of your concern." Something inside me shattered. I looked her in the eyes and said, "If you walk out, don't come back." She hesitated, then left without a word. That night, I knew my chapter with Abigail was over. I packed a bag with essentials, clothes, important documents, and left the home we had built. The next morning, I found a reputable divorce attorney and booked an urgent meeting. I wanted no messy fights, but I wasn't going to be taken for granted. How soon could we file? I asked. Within 2 days, the papers were served to Abigail at her workplace. At first, she didn't respond. Then came the furious call, filled with threats and anger. "You're going to lose everything." I stayed calm and sent her the evidence. Photos, videos from the investigator, proof of her affair with the city's mayor, a married man whose scandal could destroy reputations. I gave her an ultimatum: sign the papers and keep it private or risk public exposure. Though she tried to act unfazed, her voice betrayed her. Eventually, she signed. Months after our divorce, a news article broke exposing the mayor's affairs in lurid detail. Dates, locations, hotel receipts, footage, and Abigail's name tied to the scandal. I felt no pity. Even after confronting her, she hadn't stopped. Walking away when I did was one of the best decisions I've ever made. If you're pouring your heart into someone who's already checked out, ask yourself how long you'll keep giving to someone emotionally absent. To anyone out there grinding for their family only to feel blindsided by betrayal, don't stay silent. Trust your instincts, protect yourself, and don't let the chaos consume you.